Hey guys, it's me. I just wanted to, coming out of our meeting in December, we kind of talked about how I'm going to share the Grow curriculum materials with you guys because they give us so many wonderful things that we can use. So I created a Dropbox folder, and hopefully you guys have already received the link. If for some reason you're seeing this and you're like, "Hey, I don't have the link," let me know, and I will reshare this with you. But I just wanted to kind of walk you through the different materials on here, just to help you find the things that you need really easily. So the first thing I'm going to highlight here is this annual calendar. This is given to us by Grow, where they kind of lay out all their various things that they do and kind of like their recommended schedule. But I have gone and edited it more specifically for things I'm doing in Arvada. So if you want to create your own, you can just, save a copy of this and then you can edit it. Please don't edit this one just because you'll mess up Arvada's. But I just wanted to share with you because if you see anything here with this double asterisk, these are things that I've added in. But this might help you guys too in terms of like, oh, hey, we use the Epic stuff. So here's kind of like the order Lindsay's going to do things, or here's the topic she's doing or picked. Obviously, kids' events, these are things that they may or may not give us. But again, I did this just to kind of help me like see like at a year like my colorfully. And then also like again these like this blue stuff here at the volunteers, this is stuff they give us, things they recommend, the programming theme they would give us, the curriculum obviously, whatever their grow value is. I add in stuff for my own leadership team. So, because kind of what I did this year for Grow was because they give us themes and stuff already, is instead of trying to have five different themes or things happening, I kind of tried to see if I could line things up in terms of what I'm going to talk to my team about in terms of training or my leadership team, what we're going to go through. And we already have some things that may not line up, but it's just, again, to me, I kind of put it all together to see. Um, this is just a great way for me to see themes that goes beyond just a normal date calendar of like, oh, here's when we're meeting, but here's what we're going to talk about when we're meeting. So again, these are double asterisks, so these are just things I'm thinking of, things I'm creating or collating or whatever. Family details, they give us, obviously, we talked about that. Um, and then family events, I added in, and then obviously parents' night out. Because again, I'm just trying to make everything because not normal cloudy with a chance of meatballs actually is a perfect way to just tie it all in. So as you guys look through this, I don't necessarily do everything that's on here because there's a lot. It's easy to look at this and get overwhelmed. But, if you're like, hey, we do nothing for our volunteers, I would just recommend you guys start and look through this and maybe pick like, what are two or three things from here I can pick and just focus on that. Because honestly, if you go from nothing to even one or two things, like that's already going to start to change your ministry and your volunteers and how you care for them. So don't feel like you have to sit here and do everything all at once because it can be very overwhelming. Even in Arvada, I don't do everything that's on here. So I might pick up one more thing. So like I didn't do the monthly volunteer celebrations last year. I might start doing that. Or maybe I'll just once a quarter pick one or something like that. So just to encourage you guys not to feel overwhelmed by this, but to do something. So again, if you're like, I don't know where to start, pick something. Is it a discussion group, a conversation? Is it just something as simple as like remembering to do thank you and birthday cards, the tip videos and the weekly emails, which I actually, you guys, I don't do these because I create my own. But this is great to know, like, oh, weekly emails, like I should be emailing my team and stuff like that. So um, yeah, so that's it. And again, same with the family details. Like haven't done discussion groups with them yet. The tip videos, I just want to let you guys know, they give them to us already made, done by Ellie and Ken of the Grow team, but they actually give us the transcripts of those. I'm actually going to be re-recording those with Jerry at the end of January, so that they come Mile High Vineyard branded. So you guys have the option of either then you can use the Grow ones, you can use the ones created by me, so it's Mile High Vineyard branded, or you guys can even take the transcripts, and if you want to make them on your own, feel free to do it. It's really honestly going to be up to you guys what you want, what you have capacity for. Um, but yeah. So I just always thought it was weird to send out these tip videos from people that nobody in our church knows. So yeah, so that's why I'm recreating mine this year. And I'm just gonna sit with them and do like knock them all out at once. So that is this. So you guys can kind of look through it. So again, if there's anything here with a double asterisk, again, this is something that I'm creating or I'm working on, and there's like things like that. But I actually am still providing those materials as much as I can for you guys if you want. So if you look at like Oh man, like I don't want to do formation or anything like that with my team, but I love that Lindsay in February is going to be talking about how do we make kids feel seen. Just so you know, in this folder, right here, which is volunteer training tips, the Mile High Vineyard version, I'm actually writing out what those looks like. And these, so what I do in Arvada is I send out weekly videos to my team, 5 minutes or less. So these are going to be the tips that kind of is going to be in those videos. I may rehash them for Heal and Focus or something like that. So you can see here, so you're like, oh, again, I like what Lindsay wrote here, or like I like what she's thinking. You can at least get an idea of like what does that look like. So you can come in and look and see what I'm doing. Check it regularly because I'm adding things, taking things out. I mean, up until the moment I release it, it's a living document. But you can always look at it and see real quick kind of what I'm thinking. Um, I mean, these are my messy thoughts, but hopefully they're just helpful for you guys if you aren't sure what you want to do. And then with my leadership team, because I do have a core team that I meet with them on a monthly basis, I have kind of started laying out what am I going to talk to them for the year. So you can see, the overall theme for Kidventure in Arvada this year is going to be deep and wide. So it's going to be pressing into more with our kids, like within ourselves, discipleship wise, but then also being invitational. And that goes actually along with a larger church theme. So yeah, so we're gonna kind of shadow both ends there, the deep and width. So deep and wide. But January, so I'm gonna meet with them. Actually, I think our meeting's next week. So we always are doing a book. We straddle one between like something for ourselves, personal leadership, or with the kid related to kids ministry. So this spring we're going to talk about rule of life and stuff. So if you guys haven't heard of that, I'd love to share with you guys more about that. What we're doing. I know Danielle's pressing into this more within Life of the Church with her own soul care stuff. So yeah, so again, you can kind of see what are we doing. So we're going to talk about safety stuff first, just because, in Arvada we have some good basic safety stuff, but just really wanted to press into some more. So yeah, so you can kind of see like, oh, what is Lindsay doing with her team? What does her rhythms look like? So I meet with them monthly, and again, we're doing a book and I don't say here make them read the whole book in a month or anything like that. We take it slow. Um, but we do a book and stuff like that. So Stations of the Cross, every year Arvada does our Stations of the Cross thing. It just so happens that we'll be meeting as a team during this time, and so we'll probably just go through it. And then so you'll see this like works as we go through. Um, yeah, so I don't know. So even that, like, so difference here. So here, Lectio Divina, I don't know if we'll continue on with that. I might change that as I look at this because I don't want to continue to do so many things. But I might do a Lectio Divina exercise with them as part of our core team meeting and stuff like that. So as you can see, these are just kind of like basic thoughts, finalizing more a little bit deeper onto this document. But again, if you just ideas of like, what do I do with my team? Here are things you can do with your team. So with that, so those are the three extra things. So the first folder here is the curriculum files, and this is where you find all the curriculum files. So this is starting with January, February, March. You can see 2, 3, 4. January, you guys can look at it. It's kind of different than how it's normal because, oh, by the way, this is the curriculum as we are used to it and experience it. So everything is found in here. So this is where your programming guides are. So how do we decorate? What are some graphic files if you want? Memory verse posters, even though you guys get that, but if you want like the graphics of the memory verses, you can get all that here. The graphic files. So again, this is just like the weekly big ideas, anything like that that you would want. Just posters if you want to have things printed. For your location, you can access them here, send them off to printers to be printed. You totally can. Or even if you guys are we can print things here in Arvada 11 by 17. So if there's things that you're like, oh, this would be helpful to have on paper, let me know. Chances are I may already be printing it for Arvada, or it's not that hard to do. Teaching, this is where you get the weekly lesson plans, the printables, anything related to, like I said, to the actual weekly, the Sunday, day-to-day stuff that you need to know. Will actually all be in here. So this, you can see this is like their original and then this is the edited. So I take out, they have like a lot of just extra stuff that doesn't necessarily translate to what a teacher needs to know in the classroom. So I just take that out to make it easier for our teachers to see. yeah, so you can, so if you want to look through ahead of time, until you see these ones specific with dates, just know I haven't edited it because occasionally there will be something where it's like those supplies are just astronomical or it just won't work for not even for Avada. So I will edit it out so it doesn't confuse anybody. But that is in here as well. And then so volunteers and parents, this is where you get like the weekly take homes that we print off for everybody. If you want to see, there's monthly ones if you want to use those as a separate thing. These monthly ones are the ones that get attached to the monthly emails that they give us. Um, and then volunteers. So if you're like, oh, like you don't know how to do your feel and focus, or you don't know what to talk about with them there, you can use these volunteer ideas with them. So, and then the other thing they give us with the curriculum is, so these are the preschool teaching videos. So this is what comes on the DVD for you guys, and they will continue to do that for preschool. Again, you can look at these ahead of time. I've been thinking about ways to get these out to parents throughout the course of the week, following a Sunday. Yeah, so you may start seeing these pop up on social media, or if you do weekly emails to your families, you can add those in. If you guys, by the way, if you know anybody who's an app developer, Grow has given us ways to do an app. Their app that they give us is very basic. Um, like it's literally just the small group questions. So it's not even like the whole small group guide or anything like that. It's literally just like 2 questions that or 3 or whatever they ask in small groups. That's all it is. But they have given us access in a way to change that up. And I would love to, actually, one of my dreams is to try to find somebody to recruit that could take some of these teaching videos maybe and add it in along with like the weekly themes and stuff like that. So if you know of somebody that's something they easily could do in like 15 minutes with the tools that Grow has given us, um, or even if just honestly for me to ask them if that's like a 15-minute thing, or if they're like, oh no, that's like hours. I just would love to talk to somebody about that because I would love to develop more resources for our parents outside of Sundays to help connect what their kids are learning and that. And then this right here, this thing right here, and I could relabel this actually. This is a social media guide. So there is somebody, I think it's just a volunteer, who creates all the social media stuff that you guys see. If you see me post on Facebook and Instagram, he gives us all of this stuff. So he's like, here's what to post and when. So it's really beautiful, really good, very simple, easy work. I will continue to do it for Arvada Vineyard and the Mile High Vineyard as a whole group because believe it or not, we already have like 200 people part of that group, if not more. So I don't want to dump that. But if you guys want to do something, if you've created your own social media, or even if you're like, hey, what do I want to connect with my parents outside Sundays, you can totally use this. Just remember, this is done by a volunteer. And sometimes he gets it done early, like we have it now. Sometimes he doesn't. So just know that if it's not in there, it's not because I'm holding it back from you guys or anything. It's literally just because I probably haven't received it either. But the beautiful thing with that, one of the changes coming with our curriculum in February is that they are now giving us social media guides ourselves. So if you look under the volunteer and parent stuff, most of the things under here are the same, other than one of the changes is number one is they're giving us our own social media guide. So if you're like, oh, like I like what the guy's writing, but I want to look at something different, they give you some different ideas. Like here's a sample week of what to post when. And where and stuff like that. So it's really cool. So if you have somebody on your team that's going to handle social media for you, honestly, I have found that it doesn't take really that much effort. I think I spend maybe no more than a half hour on social media. So it's not like, it's not over, if it feels overwhelming, it's actually not. It's probably one of those things where it feels more overwhelming than it actually is. But part of that might too just be giftings and stuff like that. So there is that. And then the second thing we've talked about that's new that they finally are giving you guys access, which I love, is the monthly emails. If you guys will have to create your own MailChimp accounts, and I think this is where we got stuck before, was I created one account and then invited you guys to create lists under it. But because I use the free version, we're very limited to what we can do. But if you click on, and so again, this is under the volunteers and parents for the month, there's a document that says email links. You can now click on, literally just on this document, and it will take you to MailChimp where you can create already, look at this, you guys, it's beautiful. So you'll have to go in and you'll have to edit it. So you'll import it into so you'll click on MailChimp template. And then let me see. So, because I don't really think we need to buy, I mean, if we feel like if you guys are finding yourselves Um, well, I guess I should have clicked on where there. Um, so yeah, so Parent Real Love right here. So, and then you just click on edit. It's really beautiful what they give us, and I don't change a lot of what it is. So I'll drag in my the Kid Venture logo. So here's your own dates of what's coming up in the ministry, like in the next month or two. Um, Here they give you like a really quick overview. Interesting. Usually they have links here to the monthly review. I don't know why that's not there, so I will have to add those in. But usually, I can show you back in January, they give us, they will give you kind of like the links to the month, the Parent Monthly, right here, the Parent Guide, so you can see for the whole month what's in there. So I'll just stay in January. So February, they give you like a little tip of the month for parents. There are parent tip videos that you guys have access to that you can add in there. Those are the videos that I'm going to redo, if you want to. And then they always include a resource of the month for parents, which is great. And then they give a question of the month. So very accessible, very easy. Um, just and what I love about doing this through MailChimp is you can track like how people are engaging with it. And don't be frustrated if your first few months you don't feel like you have a lot of engagement. It's something that builds up over time. But like in December, like I had what 110 plus 34. That's 144 out of 190 parents open my email in December. That's amazing. And by the way, I've had people come up to me like, Lindsay, how do you get people to read your things? Nobody reads our stuff. I don't know, because it's useful or including the right information. I don't know, but they made it so easy. So again, this is something I probably spend about maybe 15, 20 minutes just editing real quick. And if you guys like me, like if you guys want to sit down with me one-on-one, I will walk you through like the specific steps I take to edit these on a monthly basis. But just really helpful for our parents. Does all the work for you, so they make them beautiful in the way they look, the way they design it, and stuff like that. So yeah, and I even have parents that do the emails that respond to everything. So it's really, really good in terms of getting things. They do give us, back to this, they do give you weekly volunteer ones. Now, I do not use these because I create my own because I do my videos. Um, because again, they're like, oh, here, download this week's small group guide. But if I've changed it and not everybody's a small group leader, it just doesn't apply to everybody. So, but what I will do is I will either create my own, and then their tip of the weeks, I have a volunteer Facebook group that I will take this information and I will post it on there throughout the thing. But there's like things like, oh, volunteer of the week. I would love to start thinking about that. So it's just really good things to think about that you guys can dream about for future. Don't feel like, again, you have to jump into everything all at once, because the last thing you want to do is to be overwhelmed and do things not well, or that's not helpful, and then not to be able to continue with it. So again, you get the programming guide. So this is like, how do you decorate? They even give Spotify playlist ideas if you want for people, all the different slides that you can need. And this is where, you'll see things pop up, the person who does the slideshows for me. Here, they've kind of changed, they've broken out the documents. Again, these are all, um, you guys don't need to worry about the shopping list or the prep list unless you guys want to start doing your own work at your own location. They did change the memory verse to where everything before, where it was just random motions or whatever, it's actually now everything's going to be in American Sign Language, which I think is beautiful, or SEE. I think it's really beautiful that they're doing it in a way that teaches kids about kids with like disabilities, or if we have anybody in our church that is hard, that speaks sign language, we can now communicate the memory verse and stuff like that. So I just think it's really beautiful that they've done that, the memory first. So that's like the biggest change, probably one of the only biggest changes to elementary, is that they give us the memory verse in sign language. They do now give us teaching videos for elementary. I looked through them. You guys can look through them. They're good. But in Arvada, it is actually because relationships are such a high value for us. I probably, and because I have a good teaching team, I probably will not be using these. So you will not see them pop up in our normal routine. I might use these to send out to families later. So this is where it's like, oh man, if we could change up the app or something like that, we could pop them up there. So we still use them because I think they are good. But I don't want to take away a chance for teachers to build relationship and to engage with kids in the moment for a video. Now I could see if you guys are like, man, we're really struggling as teachers. whatever. You guys can come here and use them if you really want to. Like that's going to be your guys' choice. You have access to them, but you won't see anything from me in terms of like the slideshows that I build and stuff like that. So we will continue to build the slideshows and stuff like that. So for elementary, like I said, I think that is the biggest change is the sign language for things and then the videos. For preschool, again, you're going to get the same. Preschool's pretty much going to stay the same. The only difference here is number one, they now give us Hack for Toddlers. So for those of you who use this curriculum with your twos, which is Arvada and I think Lakewood, I'm going to change it. Before we would just take the preschool curriculum and be like, hey, just pick and choose what you feel works best. I am actually from this point forward and starting in February, the toddler, basically whatever the hack is plus the coloring page plus the Bible story, that is going to be it for the toddler curriculum. We're just going to provide that stuff because I think that's going to be most effective for toddlers anyway. So instead of preparing everything that you end up not even using because you can't really do it. So that's going to be like the biggest change for toddlers is we're just going to use the Hacks Bible Story coloring page plus the teaching videos. So you will have the teaching videos like we normally do. We had the memory verse. The only other big difference that I've been able to see with the curriculum for preschoolers is they now, so before we always did snack, rice checks, I think Arvada we're changing to veggie straws and stuff like that, is they actually will now give us a snack that correlates with each lesson. And I've been thinking about that and just trying to think through like how I want to handle that from a prep standpoint, a budget standpoint. And I actually would love for you guys to feedback to me what you guys want to do. I probably at this point am not planning on making this a part because snack has always been a separate budget item for us. My my initial thoughts is to take it out and not use it at all, just because I can see it getting to be very like actually heavy on the budget. And so now that you guys are starting to manage your own budgets in this way, not doing it. However, I did email my preschool coach and ask her what she thought. So if she comes back to me and individually is like, oh, I want to do it, I think we could do it budget friendly, or I'm thinking maybe even once a month we'll keep it in. So I don't know. I would love to hear from you guys. But if we do the snack thing, it will obviously still come out of your guys' budget. So there are things with allergies and stuff like that to keep concerned about. So just let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to like explore, if you guys want to look through even just real quick the different budgets so that you can, or different snack ideas so you can see if that will work for your location. That is totally fine. So that's it. So that's really pretty much it. So that's the curriculum files real quick. And then the discipleship strategy, they haven't given us any of the things, but that's where it's like some things we used last year, some things we didn't. Once those comes out, maybe I'll let you know. These are the events. So this is where the gingerbread we did last year. So this is past events they gave us that were good. This one's the spring escapade. So again, this is the thing though that I might decide to use on Easter Sunday. So go ahead and look through it and let me know if you think that will serve your location on Easter Sunday or if you think that'll be too hard. This is where again they talk about on the parent strategy. They're like, oh, these are the different pieces that they give you in regards to that. So you can look through it. And like, so this is where you'll find the tip videos. If you're meeting with a parent, there's a discussion guide. You can ask like, just like, how do you ask pointed questions? It's actually helpful. Different parent tools, if you want to use them. I don't always use them. I redid the survey already or the handbook already. So don't recreate that. I have that done from last year. But this is where, I mean, they have volunteer business cards. I don't use those. But the Move Up Sunday and Open Day House, again, a lot of this stuff I use and I don't use, but again, it's there if you guys want to use it. If you have more questions about why I did or didn't use volunteer strategy, this is where they have like the wacky, celebrations every month. This is where they do have, and I can't, it's always tricky under where it's at. This is where they have the training guides, right? So if you're a small group leader, um, that's conversations, communications. I always forget where it is, but under here they have like some training guides and stuff like that. I've taken those up and put those on the website also. So if you're like, oh, like, I took all the ones from last year, those have been already uploaded. Just a reminder, we do have that curriculum website with all the resources. And I think I put a link to this on there as well. But this is where, again, if you're like meeting with a small group leader, like what are just some questions you can ask them about being a small group leader and stuff like that. Discussion groups. This is where, you gather up your team, like, and you ask them specific things about their team. Um, They may not have that resource available for the trainings yet. Again, it's one of those things where once it's all up there. So that's the different things where you can find it all. So thank you guys so much. Let me know if you have any questions, and welcome to 2020.